fresh locker, and we got a solid pinion spacer. Today we're going to be getting all the front end back together. I had a huge delay on getting these parts. Now these are shims for the front swivel pin housings. The seal kit I got, it literally came with 3. So I don't know if they've done the Harry Houdini on me and just taken them out of the kit, but to think you can buy these on your own, like you used to be able to, man, it was a fight to try and get these, but they supplied me with a whole stack of them. We can finally start getting all the front end back together. Dad's gonna start building the front diff for me while I start tackling the front end. That's towing in 2 mil. I wasn't sure that was going to come off, but it doesn't even have a circlip on there like it's normally. Normally the circlip gets jammed in there and you end up peeling, where you can sort of see where it's done it before. It peels the edge of these splines off, and normally you destroy the CV, or you destroy the end of the axle trying to get it off, but I got it off. And the reason why I wanted it off is when I bought these diffs, the other side had a blown CV. So what I'll do is I'll dunk this in a bit of fresh fuel and just check the cage over and make sure it's not got a fracture anywhere. Otherwise we'll have to just get another standard CV, which is that a, oh no, that was a bit of grease. But it needs a good look over anyway, plus it needs a re-grease because it's almost completely dry in there. So, oh, there's the circlip in the bottom there. So, and it feels like it's broken. Bugger. You can sort of see here how our CV grease has been popping out. So we've actually greased up our CV properly. Instead of just wiping grease around it, we just stuff grease in it, and then once you hit the axle in, it pushes it all through the balls. So, and we've seated that properly. You can sit there bashing the end with a hammer, but generally you won't get it in. If you do a couple quick thuds on the ground, normally I put a bit of wood on the ground, but I just only had a rag on me, and it pops it straight on. I went to put the front axles in, and as you can see, I had to grind that, and I'm not sure why I had to grind that. I was freaking out thinking this whole housing's bent, but these balls on these are actually, the diameter of them is so big I wouldn't think you'd actually bend these. And I also thought, because I've put a gusset on the bottom, have I distorted the end of the housing when I've welded that on? But welding that on, you'd think once it shrinks, it would pull that down, which would give me more clearance there. So I'm not sure if I've seen other people on the internet, like I did a bit of research and other people have had to grind these. I even backed off the preload on the housing thinking that might have slightly distorted the end, but I wouldn't think so. And obviously that didn't make any change because I've had to grind down there. Now it's not much, but it's enough that when I was putting the axle in, it actually damaged the axle seal when I was sliding the axle in. Like, this is the old CV that came out the other side, and as you can see, it's smashed all there, and like the CV slips in fine. You can get that in there fine. I have cleaned all this too, so there's no metal shards on it. It just looks like there is. And then you slide the axle in, because I thought it might have been you had to line up the two splines on the air locker before you push the axle in, but after separating the axle from the other CV that I have, it slipped in fine. So I'm not actually quite sure what's happening with that and why it had to be ground like that, because when you put the axle in on its own and you set the axle will center itself on the axle seal, and then you measure from this point here to this point here, and it's perfectly center. Even inside this ball here where we're having the issue is the exact same as the other side, but yet the other side axle slid in perfect. By grinding that, it's solved all the issues. It's kind of annoying though, because it goes in and it's a real tight fit. But anyway, I've had to reorder a new axle seal, so I will bang that in. See, it shouldn't be that tight. You can see in the bottom it's scraped away all the grease that I put there. So the bit that worries me now is because it pushes so hard up against that axle seal, whether the axle seal is damaged now or not. It has got these do have an oil deflector that's about 50mm forward from the axle seal. So, but I guess time will tell if this axle seal is all right. If it is, if we have damaged the seal once again, I'll probably have to just take more material out of there so the CV doesn't put as much load on it when you're feeding it through. Now we've got our front axle all put back together, we need to start thinking about the front drive shaft. Now this is the original Suzuki drive shaft which we've modified, and I'm going to be sticking with the Suzuki drive shaft for now. One being the slip yoke, we're not going to be able to modify that in. I'd have to buy a slip yoke eliminator, and plus with the high pinion in the front of the Suzuki now, this will be almost on a dead straight angle. There'll only ever be a slight angle coming out the transfer case, which is, these will be at its strongest point. So if they do fail, we'll simply just have to upgrade them. But for now, we'll put the transfer case back in the car, lock this in half, and start measuring out exactly our length that we're going to need. Oh, what? Surely it's not that simple. I've got around, what's that, 20 mil of shaft to go in. As if that fits. That really surprises me. I don't know what I've changed for that to fit now. I suppose, I can't remember if I tried it with the high pinion or not. I know with the low pinion it was way... I'd have to look back on some video footage and see what is going on there, but that really surprises me. I might not even have to make the front shaft. That is awesome. What we'll have to do is take all the preload out of the front shocks, probably even pull the springs off, or take the bottom plates off so the springs have no load on them at all, so we can get full up travel and just check our clearances on this shaft. We're almost at bump stop now. Let's check that shaft clearance. Yeah, right, we still got heat. That's awesome. Oh, that's gonna be fine. That's 20 mil, so it doesn't really change much. I'm really stoked that shaft fits. It blows my mind that after all the modifications we've done in the front of this thing, that shaft bolted up and that clears fine. We have clearance on the tail shaft at full up travel and full down travel. So I've chucked the bolts in it now, so we've pretty much, because we don't have rear axles, but we do have front axles, it's now able to move under its own power. So we can move it around finally. So we can chuck the wheels back on. But before we do, I've already done the guards on this thing, but I did video it, so I'll roll that now. Now we've got the guard on, you can see how much I actually cut it back. So I cut this all the way back to there, and that way our trim piece still has somewhere to mount onto, which it mounts on with that screw there, but yet the wheel won't hit this section here. So we got those flares all on. These are actually the flares you put the fencing wire in if you can see, there's a little hole there for where you slide it through, but I'm not sure how the end of this guard is going to finish once I tackle all this front section. So I've left this long, I've left the wire out. So I've been mucking around under the bonnet here, working out exactly where everything's going to go. Now, we're going to have to move a whole bunch of wiring up here because our new air box is going to go in here. That way we don't have our big crossover pipe. We're going to get a smaller one of these, and that's just going to relocate over to the other side, and it should neaten up, just get rid of all the congestion that's in the engine bay here. But now that we've got everything back together and we can sort of move it under its own power, Dad's actually going to be starting his project where this car is, so we can finally start it up after 8 months and move it out into the backyard. So I've already tried to bleed up the fuel. I think it's already bled up, but there'll be an air pocket right down the back, I reckon, for once, because we had the tank out. So we'll glow it for a little bit and just see if it'll fire up. My idea is we're going to have to drill out the spot welds on this old support here to pull this off, because our bull bar needs to get raised up 30 mil like the body lift. And in the guard here, there's like these front plates, if you can sort of see the outline of it on these Vitaras. We'll have to drill the spot welds out on that and pull that plate off. And then where the bottom of this headlight sits here, see how we've got this massive gap? We're going to shrink that gap to almost just under the headlight there. I'll probably have to weld a plate, or I could even just notch this plate out here and weld that in here so the bottom of the headlight has some protection from rocks and stuff, because on full up travel with the turned wheel, it hits all here. So I was able to get that factory hard line that goes from the caliper to the bottom of the brake line, which was nice. But I just got these made the other day. Now these are the original brake lines that I had in the car, but they're just cut shorter and the Hilux fitting's been crimped on the end. Now this is a bit of a concern. We've cycled the suspension up and down when we were mocking whereabouts the brake line's going to go, and every time, because we've put a slight twist in it, every time it goes up it sort of twists out and pretty much remains how it is. So the only other issue is going to be when debris from when you're out full driving hits it and it sort of peels it back like that. And if that's the case, we're gonna have to make up, we'll probably pull this P-clamp off and then make up some sort of a spring that clamps around it, and we make a mount on the body somewhere, so as you're driving around the spring pulls it tight, and then as it goes through travel the spring lets it go where it wants to go, but at all times it's got tension pulling forward. So that's yet to be determined. The other side, the fitting was a little bit different on the other side. When I first originally got these done, however many years ago, the fittings that they supplied were two different ones. So the other side does sit a little better. As you can see there, it sort of faces straight down, which does look a little nicer. But and if you did notice, I went ahead and mounted all the reservoirs, well, the front two anyway. So amongst all the mess in here, nice and easy to adjust, and the hydraulic line just runs straight around. Nice and simple, keeps it neat, especially because we've got our air box and stuff going in here. So I'm absolutely stoked with the progress we've made in this video. It's literally a driving car again. We've got to do the rear axles. We're yet to do that. I've got to still check that rear tail shaft to see if that's going to bolt in. But I'm still so surprised that front tail shaft's bolted in after everything we've changed. Lucky, I thought to myself, before I go cutting it, I'll just double check it doesn't fit, and I'm glad I did that. So we've still got loads of work to do under the bonnet. We've got to reroute a fair few things, trim up all our guards where our coil towers come through. I'm hoping in the end of the next video, we can drive it around the block. So that is the absolute goal. So super keen for that one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.